Run it back, Nation. What is good? Sixer Sickos. What is good? Our guy Nick Nurse was on the Colin Cowherd show yesterday, last night, sometime. I don't know. Some quotes started to come out today about some things that he said. So let's see if he said anything interesting about maybe the end of the season and maybe where they want to go this upcoming season. Let's just listen to it and react to it because I don't really watch TV. And I didn't see this yet, so let's get it up here. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for being here. Hit the like button for me one time. All right, here we go. Nick Nurse on the Colin Cowherd show.
Bag, all that food for $5, right. That's my go-to.
Ooh, that's my ride or die.
Just like you and me. Bag boys. Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
Go biggie and get all this with the JBC for just $5.
And I tell you what,
Listen,
Here we go.
You know all about Boston. You have faced them. Porzingis, people don't watch Washington. Porzingis had a great year at Washington. How do you match
He did. He averaged most points per game of his career in Washington.
up with him when you've got Tatum and Derek White? To me, when I'm watching the television, Nick, I think Porzingis is just a problem to face.
he certainly is. He first of all, you get the switch on him and he gets somebody smaller. He's just going to do his thing, move his body around, get positioning to just shoot over the top of him. And then his rim protection is what's really, I think been amazing.
Yeah, the only thing I said about Porzingis when the Celtics traded for him is that he wasn't going to be healthy. Obviously, Porzingis healthy is a crazy weapon to add to what they already had going. So, yeah, they're dominating the NBA. They dominated the NBA from a transaction standpoint, and they're dominating the NBA on the floor.
And
as much as it pains me to say,
caused the Mavericks problems, but I think that this series is really about who's keeping who in front of each other. The Mavs are having a hard time keeping the ball in front of them, and the Celtics aren't. The Celtics are keeping defensive players in front of the ball, and it's making Dallas's offense a lot tougher than normal.
You know, Nick, the NBA did not like KD to the Warriors. So the new CBA, they created some aprons. They don't want 3 stars together. They want draft and develop. They'll give you a couple, but they'd prefer you draft them like a Tyrese Maxey and develop them. They don't want you going grabbing a Porzingis, getting a Derek White, or a Drew Holiday, I should say. I do feel watching them, it's like they pulled a fast one on the league. They got to, if Al Horford's your...
well, they did draft him. So what's he really saying? They didn't really go get 3 superstars. They drafted well, and they made very good trades for very good role players.
6th best player and Derek White.
I think he talks about the Sixers in like a minute. So
it's your 5th. Is some of this just, Nick, Boston's too good and too deep?
Yes.
Well, I think Brad Stevens wins Executive of the Year, and I tell you what, I don't.
You heard that, Daryl? Daryl, did you hear that? Your coach just called Brad Stevens Executive of the Year, Daryl.
I don't want to.
Pressure's on, buddy.
Negotiate with him right now. I mean, he got Horford from OKC, White from San Antonio, Porzingis from Washington, Drew Holiday from Portland, all here in a pretty short span of time. And those guys they've all been incredible. Really, really incredible. Drew Holiday was amazing last night.
Yeah.
Porzingis in game 1, and we haven't even talked about Brown and Tatum yet, and they're obviously their best 2 players.
It's interesting with Tatum. I mean, you were in the G League. You've seen young players. I always felt Jalen was a great athlete, but he wasn't quite as aesthetically pleasing. He was just such a good, strong athlete, and he keeps getting. I look at Tatum, and he's so fluid. It's such a beautiful game. How do you size the 2? They obviously play well together, but I always think Tatum's more naturally fluid. But Jalen plays so hard. He's got a little bit of D. Wade to him. What do you make of those 2?
D. Wade's a weird comparison.
I don't know. I think there's very little difference between them as far as who's better, who isn't. I mean, they're both long, athletic, both can shoot the 3. I think they're Brown obviously is physical. Tatum is awful physical. When he drives in there, he'll bounce people and put his shoulder down and, forearm and all that kind of stuff. I think they're
I like how you threw that in there, Nick. The classic Jason Tatum forearm.
both really good defensively. Man, they just keep getting better. And I think, for me, Tatum is probably, his passing has probably been the best, or the biggest thing he's improved. He certainly had a lot of chances as a young player just to kind of go, but he makes great reads now. He finds the guys. Obviously, they got, I don't know, 8 guys, 6, 7, 8 guys that are just going to stand out there if you give them a catch and shoot 3, and they're going to make you pay. And they just keep getting better. They're very, very good, very, very similar.
Obviously, Joe Mazzulla has buy-in. So a lot in this league, these are highly compensated players. Derek White's making $18 million a year, and yet they play as a unit. I think a lot of that is Tatum, that he's a giver, he's not a taker. You guys have a lot of cap space. You have 2 stars, Maxey and Embiid.
There we go.
When you spend that, how much do you and Daryl talk about chemistry, collaboration, the right fit? I saw it with the Knicks this year a little bit. Didn't have the most talent. They all bought in. How big of a factor is that? How often do you talk about that with Daryl?
Well, it should be a huge factor because for 8 straight years they didn't do that. So I would like to think that that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. Obviously, we've got a lot of cap space and a lot of roster to fill. And you're right. I mean, I think Tyrese was amazing this year. Joel was playing the best basketball of his career, which is saying something until the injury. So I think we got two great guys to build around. Finding the right pieces that are gonna be able to space and shoot, defend and rebound. Have some IQ.
That's right, Daryl. That's number 1 and number 2. Space and shoot, defend and rebound. That's everything the Sixers should be looking for when it comes to players on the floor with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Shooters, defenders, rebounders. Not a third ball stopper.
Shoot, defend and rebound, have some IQ, have some late game, moxie and guts, and the things that it takes is really the key for us, to get to where we want to go, which is
a player on your bench with a lot of guts. We'll see if you play him this season or not.
We wish we were playing now, that's for sure.
Is what is the dilemma? Do they need another? I mean, when you look at Boston and Dallas, you're like, God, if Kyrie's off, it's all Luka. What do you do when you have one, a transcendent star? You want to watch minutes because obviously Dallas is good enough to get to the playoffs. Is it hard?
Has Colin Cowherd ever watched Nick Nurse coach? Because I don't think Nick Nurse ever thinks about minutes.
Sometimes when you have a star, he wants the ball to get to the playoffs. Is it hard sometimes when you have a star, he wants the ball, he's a great closer, but he's wearing himself out? Looks like Luka to me is kind of falling apart.
Well, I think it's the balancing act. Obviously, he certainly needs some help. Your complimentary guys got to be really good during the game. I think, I don't know, last night's game's a good example. Would they go 2 for 17 from 3 other than Luka?
Right.
There was a chance last night to be in that game and maybe get that one, but they got to, it's got to be better than that. And that way you don't have to rely on him so much throughout, the first 42, 44 minutes, right? You got to have some offensive, defensive help for those superstar guys so that they do have enough in the tank, in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game to make plays at both ends.
Yeah. The Caitlin Clark is, listen, there's no necessarily right answer. I said earlier, in life, occasionally you are presented with a wave. Grab your...
All right, I don't want to hear his opinion on Caitlin Clark. That's all he really said about the Sixers is that they need guys who can shoot, defend, and rebound. He didn't really say the Sixers need a third star to carry them, when the number 1 and number 2 are struggling, he didn't say that. And that's kind of what Daryl Morey was hinting at his whole press conference. So I'm kind of getting two really different perspectives, it feels like, from Nick Nurse and from Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey made it clear he prefers another star. And he even argued the fact that teams over the history of the NBA, the teams with the best players win. Recently, teams are deeper and have more role players, but over the course of time, the team with 3 All-Stars wins. So Daryl Morey was making a case for it in his press conference. Nick Nurse did not seem like he was hinting at this. We should go and get another guy that can carry the load when the other two are struggling. He right off the bat said, we need guys that can fit around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, guys that can shoot, guys that can create, guys that can defend, and guys that can rebound. So that's really all he said on this little Colin Cowherd interview, but it is interesting because it's totally different than, I feel like, what Daryl Morey thinks the team needs. And you know what? If Daryl Morey fails again this offseason and swings and misses, I'll just make Nick Nurse the damn GM, bro, because I'm tired of it. I'll be ready for something else. You feel me? Y'all give me your thoughts and comments in the thoughts and opinions in the comments. You know what I'm trying to say, man. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button. Have a good day.